Now, Blizzard is no stranger to controversy, whether it has to do with loot boxes, cut content, or just over-round bad expansions to their previous games. But this is probably one of their biggest controversies to come out, and it's got a lot of people turning their heads and paying attention. So there have been new developments. Some will show that Blizzard's even worse than what we thought. But this isn't a whole list of why Blizzard sucks. I'll do that video another time. This is just a quick wrap up of the controversy that they started. Blitzchung was a pro Hearthstone's player, and in an interview, he said, "Liberate Hong Kong, the revolution of our time."
你就讲完那8个字，然后导播我们就结束，我们就什么也都不要聊了。然后你随时可以开始，头先低下来。
光复香港，时代革命。
Now, most people don't have too much of an understanding of what's going on in Hong Kong. What's going on is Hong Kong used to be a British colony until they gave it up. So it's not part of China, nor is it a part of Britain. So they're their own little independent area with their own rules. And China has been trying to take them over. And China is a communist government that uses things like fascist laws and laws that just straight up don't make sense. They've even tried to extradite criminals, people who aren't criminals, but who broke Chinese law, but not Hong Kong law, to China to face severe punishments, such as backtalking the government. And those are many of the rights that they're trying to fight for, like the right to backtalk the government, the right to freedom of expression, freedom of speech, many things that we are taking for granted and are for some reason arguing about getting rid of here. People in Hong Kong are waving the American flag and singing the American national anthem, asking for help.
And bright stars through the perilous fight. All the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does the stars sprinkle, then I yet wave. Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
So while I believe that it was not the appropriate time and place for Blitzchung to do what he did, I do appreciate that he does have a lot more people looking now. I know some people are saying people are just drifters and they're only talking about this for clicks or whatever now. This is something I've been talking about for months when I first found out. A lot of people don't know what's going on in Hong Kong, and that's perfectly alright if they jump on board now when they've been informed. So something to note, Blitzchung knew fully well what he was doing. He knew that he'd get in trouble. He did not know the severity of how much he would be in trouble. But he did state that he knew going in that there would be consequences. So the consequences were that he lost all of his prize money and he was suspended for a whole year. And the two newscasters who were interviewing him got suspended for a year. And that is kind of like a death sentence because it doesn't pay a lot of money. They won't have a lot of income to live on after. And they have to go back and reapply, I would assume, for the job position after the 12-month probation is up. Not probation, but the 12-month ban is up. So they may not even get hired back on afterwards anyways. Now, the reason they were able to do this is under the Hearthstone contract, page 12, section 6.1. It's written into the contract that if they do anything that offends a portion of the public or makes Blizzard look bad, they will have their money taken away, in addition to other remedies which may be provided for under the handbook. So this means literally anything. If you are sponsored by Pepsi and you say, I don't like to drink Pepsi, I like, whatever Coca-Cola products, well then Blizzard could ideally get rid of you because one of their supporters are Pepsi. Or you can say that you don't believe in something or do, and then you could offend atheists or Christians or whatever it may be, and you can be out. So it's really a rule that's there just so they could boot you for any possible reason that they would want to. So he fully understood that the money would be taken away, but the ban for both him and the casters was something that they thought of, and obviously they thought of to please China. because again, China is fighting to take Hong Kong. Hong Kong's fighting for their liberation and their rights that will not be afforded to them under the Chinese government. Now, many Blizzard employees actually do not agree with what they did. Many of them staged a walkout in front of an orc statue that they had and covered up on a giant statue that they have that says many quotes like "think globally and every voice matters," obviously covering those up because those voices in Hong Kong apparently don't matter, nor does Blitzchung's or the people who are outraged, whether they're employees, fans, or just people who hate censorship in general. Both fans and employees are also fighting back in other ways, such as Mark Kurtz, who had a lot to do with the WoW Classic. He really pushed for it and he helped design it. He canceled his account and wrote a very nice summary of why he did it. So they asked us to tell us more why you're canceling your World of Warcraft subscription. And he says, "I made this game with the team. I am opposed to Blizzard's fear of China and the silencing of Blitzchung. I am calling on Blizzard to do what's right." And many other people followed suit, canceling whether it's just their accounts or their subscriptions. Many people ran into errors while trying to cancel their accounts or request their personal information. Blizzard stated that it was a bug, but I believe it was not. Obviously, they were trying to slow down people being able to cancel their accounts. And it doesn't help with the drop in stock that they've been seeing along with all this bad publicity. So I think they were trying to slow it down to make it seem like they weren't really losing that many people, or at least not that fast. So after all this happened, Blizzard finally was forced to come out. Now, the president himself of Blizzard, not Blizzard Activision, but Blizzard, did respond. They said that they will be giving back Blitzchung his prize money, and him and the newscasters will both go from a 12-month suspension to a 6-month. But that still raises the question, why was the newscaster suspended in the first place? Why is Blitzchung really suspended? The rules stated that his money would be taken away, so why'd they give the money back if that's the only thing that's actually written in the rules? Then they bury in it that their relationship with China had nothing to do with what they did with Blitzchung, which then doesn't explain why he got the money back, which is written in the rules will be taken away, and he got suspended, which is not written in the rules along with the newscasters, as I brought up. They also state that his actual words wasn't the reason why he got suspended. It was for making a statement in the first place. Now, while I agree that we should keep preaching politics out of video games, I don't agree with the way that Blizzard is going about this. They aren't doing it because this is something that they, are firmly against. After all, they do completely support the LGBT community, especially during the 1 month that every corporation does, and for some reason the only time, which is a political statement saying that the LGBT community should have rights, but Hong Kong saying Hong Kong should have rights apparently isn't okay. So Blizzard themselves are just hypocrites that do speak politics. And while a lot of their games aren't selling that great in China, the real money comes from their other products, whether it's the products that are being sold there, the manufacturing discounts that they probably get, and their Warcraft movie, which bombed here over in the West but did really well in China. They do make plenty of money, not to mention Chinese corporations do have stock within Blizzard as well. Now, while this was happening, Epic Games' Tom Sweeney decided to join in and say that they will not bow to Chinese censorship. This was before bowing down to 4 or 5 blue check marks from doing an interview with the quartering, which he immediately backed out of because they started lying about the quartering to him, and he didn't bother doing any checking. So if 4 or 5 blue check marks can get him to back out of an interview, imagine what Chinese who own 40% of their company through Tencent are able to make him do. So again, don't trust corporations. Just because they say they won't bow to China doesn't mean that it's actually true. Just like how Blizzard's saying that they're not bowing to China, but obviously they are. But to show that Blizzard is full of more bullshit, a Chinese PR firm that works for Blizzard released this statement on Weebly, which is this whole Chinese, thread thing. "We are very angered and disappointed at what happened at the event today and do not condone it in any way. We also highly object to spreading of personal political beliefs in any manner. Effective immediately, we've banned the contestant from any events and terminated work with the broadcasters. We will always respect and defend the pride of our country. Now, the strangest thing about the apology was the time that it was released. It released on Friday. I believe it was after 8 p.m. when most people that would cover it, like Forbes, Polygon, Kotaku, whatever trash article website you want to read, would be asleep and would be either unable to cover this or unwilling to cover this at the time. And they made the mistake of publishing it at a time that Hong Kong was actually just getting up, so they weren't too very forward thinking. But this is a tactic that you'll see a lot of people use all the time, whether it's a company making a statement while trying to avoid the news cycle, or if it's a news outlet trying to, avoid actually getting an interview or a word from whoever they're writing the next slanderous article about. They'll normally, send them a message Friday night. That way the company's out Saturday and Sunday and they couldn't reach them for, a word. But Blitzchung has issued his own statement after the president came out and said what he did. He was saying that we shouldn't force people to pick a side if they want to be neutral or silent. That is every right that they have, which I can completely, agree with him on. The rights aren't only to be able to stand up and talk about what's going on. It's also your right to be able to leave things alone and not be messed with, and not be forced into doing something you don't want to do. But he was saying that he does appreciate everybody's support and that he is wishing Blizzard well. But there has been a new development. A Twitter user by the name of Blue Bell, who is a bilingual English and Chinese speaker, has actually documented why they believe that this wasn't written by the American Blizzard president, but a Chinese non-native English speaker. And I'll leave a link to both what Blitzchung said and this tweet thread discussing why they think that this wasn't written by the actual Blizzard president. I'm not going to go too in depth here. I believe that you guys can all make up your minds, because it's hard to tell if this is somebody who is just trying to find the slightest thing to push a narrative, or if this is somebody who's actually found out, what the truth is that Blizzard will never actually tell us. So I'll leave that for you guys to make up your own mind about. But obviously, if this was somebody who speaks Chinese that was supposed to write this on behalf of the government and the president for Blizzard, it just goes to show how much more messed up that the Blizzard, its company, is, and how much more scary and fucked up the situation with China controlling our media is. And I will be going and talking about this, and I want to do a thing informing people more on Hong Kong, along with going over South Park, talking about how movies are controlled by the Chinese as well. So you may see similar stories like this down the road. Again, this is the secondary channel. This isn't the main channel. And along with work, so it's quite sparse when I'll be uploading content, and I'm quite sorry about that. I do hope that this video has been informative. So this doesn't seem to be over for Blizzard though, because they're apparently giving out 1,000-year bans for anybody supporting Hong Kong, or as they say, trolls, on the Hearthstone forum, along with many weird actions such as removing the $175 May statue from the Gator store. Now, if you don't understand that, it's because May has actually become a symbol for Hong Kong revolution, which I support. It is a very peaceful protest. It is a very peaceful way of going about it. And it shows Blizzard how easy their bottom line will be hurt if they worry about China so damn much. But I hope you found this video informative. Tell me in the comments, where do you stand on politics and video games? Where do you stand on this Hong Kong mess? Do you believe Blitzchung chose the right time and place? Again, I don't believe so. But the way that the rules are stated, it seems like he couldn't even say this on his own time. If he was at home streaming, as long as he's attached to the competition, I think they would have gotten him either way. Because it doesn't say anything about while, on the tournament floor. It just says if they do anything that could offend people. So I feel like they could have nailed him anytime, as long as the competitions are going on, maybe even after. But I do have to thank Blitzchung for bringing light to such an important issue to many gamers, just like South Park has just done that to many moviegoers. And hopefully we can see a time when our media isn't controlled by other governments. So tell me, what do you guys think of all that's going on? Do you think they're in the right to protect their bottom line? Do you think they're in the wrong to go against what many people are saying is just basic human rights. They're actually now being accused of violating human rights, and I'll link to that article from One Angry Gamer down in the comments below as well. But I implore you guys, please share this video, because this channel is obviously not going to naturally gain any Chinese viewers now. This channel is more than likely, the second that I put Blizzard in the title, they probably knew I was going to shit talk them and just banned my whole channel from all of China. So I'd appreciate it if you guys, liked and shared around, and let's go ahead and have a conversation in the comments about all this. Now, as I was about to end this video, I actually saw the Quartering make a video, and he brought up this new website, Gamers for Freedom, and it's all about the protests in Hong Kong, along with a GoFundMe to protest Blitzchung, which he funded. He gave it $3,000, which was their goal. So he basically single-handedly funded this thing. And obviously, he wants it to be peaceful and civil and everybody to be safe. So I'm going to leave a link to the website along with a link to the GoFundMe in the description for you guys as well.
And now there's RSVPs, there's Discords getting set up. And look at these companies. Gamers for Freedom. This is awesome, by the way, an awesome list. We have a list of companies. Bandai Namco might. Bethesda might. Blizzard might. Bungie might. Deleting your account. They have links to joining their Discord. They have all sorts of games that are good other examples. You have Hearthstone here, but you don't list Magic the Gathering? Come on, dogs. You've got people, all their statements. This is a great website.